Getting ready to mix up some of this kitty hair. Little rough spot on this box. I'm going to go ahead and touch that up. I'm going to go ahead and use this old stuff. I think it's going to be alright. I'm going to use it on the inside first. Usually I use a paint stick to get this out of these quart cans. I don't have a paint stick handy. This should be alright. The stuff's going to mix pretty quickly, set up, because it's hot. Stuff hot laying out here, and it's hot outside. The hardener's hot, everything's hot. And I just mixed it up real rich because I'm just going to fill a couple of holes with it real quick. Going to set up like a rock in just a few seconds. Uh-oh, it's set up just now. I didn't get to get the second side. Yep, locked up just now. Here. One of the reasons you need more than one spreader, because while that one's setting up, I'll get this yeah, you don't have much time when it's hot out. I mean, you can slow it down by putting less hardener in it, but then doggone it won't cure enough. It'll be sticky for a long time. So doing this stuff outside in the sun when it's in the 90s, you got to be on the ball. You got to be quick. And if you're brand new and never did it, you'll never get away with it. And on the other hand, when it's cold in the winter, you got to use extra hardener, or it won't set up at all. I'm going to leave that filler on there, and I'm going to stick it right against this one like that. And now when that finishes setting up, those will peel off clean. So I got about 5 more unused spreaders here. 6, there's one here. And I got a whole box of new ones. I'm going to drill my holes now while this stuff is still a little tacky and it's not ready to finish the outside yet, so I'm going to drill the holes while I can see through it on both sides. See how we can see these holes? There's 2 sets of holes because when I put that bug shield on here, I had to take these off, these mirrors off, and move them down about, looks like 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to stay with those lower holes and go on ahead and drill these out on this side while I can see through there, and then I'll finish building up the inside as far as I want to build that up. Then I'll have my holes out here where I won't be able to see daylight through them. I can drill them again through the outside before I finish the outside up. And then when I finish the outside up, I'll drill them again from the inside. It's still a little tacky, but not very much. But I'm going to take the grinder and go on ahead and get some of these rough edges of the fiberglass off. And I'm going to build this up just a little bit more with the kitty hair filler and just make it a little smoother, make it lay a little flatter. Got that coat of kitty hair or long strand reinforced fiberglass in there, and here, up there on the roof, and on this side, and that is setting up. And I'm going to show why I like to put these things here, why I stick them together like that with a little bit of filler on them. It's got to have a little bit of thickness to it. If it's too thin, it won't work. And you just fold them. There's not enough on the back side here. We'll have to stick some more on there, and it'll peel right off like it did on this side. Now you can't use these for finish work unless you get all of it off. But you just fold it like that and the whole thing comes right off, and then you've got another one to work with. But you only use this for your rough coats, your first rough coats, because they're contaminated and you need very smooth edges for your finish work, and we're not going to have that without actually cutting new square edges on them. So those are still good. I just took this hand file with I think it's 36 grit paper, it's in there, and I worked over this area that I covered with a little bit of fiberglass resin after I ground these holes out. And so I'm not feeling anything when I rub my hand across there. I'm not feeling anything except the indentation of these holes. So I've got this. I didn't do it on camera, but I got so much of this to do that, and I'm not going to do a perfect job because it's just an old junk truck. I'm not restoring it, I'm just patching it up. I was just now grinding on this. I started to do this one by hand like that too, and I found I'm a little bit high in places, and so I started grinding it with that grinder again. And so I'm just testing it with my hand, and not ready to use the hand file on it yet. That's almost ready to put a coat of filler on. Might be slightly high in here, I am not sure. Looking for a straight edge and I can't find it. I'll have to use the side of this hand file. Yeah, it's still slightly high right in here. I'm going to pause this and look for my hand file or my straight edge. This is not perfectly straight, it's got a slight curve in it, not much. But anyway, this will rock on here a little bit, but it seems to still be a little bit high right in here, just a bit. We got a low spot right in here. A little bit high right here. I think it's time to DA it a little bit. The trick to using the power sander is never push real hard, always use real sharp paper. This paper is not real sharp anymore, so I'm pushing even less. Because when you push, you flex the metal, you bend it, and then you're changing the shape of it. When you're sanding it, you wind up with a weird shape there when you let go of it and it pops back out. Before I put another coat of filler on the outside here, I got to drill these holes again because I put that coat of kitty hair on the inside, and so I won't be able to find the holes. I'm going to go ahead and get the other side before I forget. That's pretty close to where I want it, but it's just slightly wavy, just a little slightly wavy. And I'm going to go on ahead and rough it up a little bit with this disc grinder, and then that'll give the fillers a little more something to bite into. This stuff here mixes the same way as other stuff I mixed, kitty hair. I'm going to DA the top of this box a little bit. Body filler. It's made out of a plastic resin and talc powder as a filler. At least if I remember correctly, that's what it is. And I think it's just a little more than half full. That's a brand new can. Look at that, just a little more than half full. Thought it was kind of lightweight. I mean, it says lightweight. I guess that's what they mean by lightweight, a little light on volume. We don't need much. We're just going to wipe a thin coat on, but you always have a little bit extra for two reasons. One, because you're going to be working on a second hole someplace to put the extra in. And two, to have a little something for your spreader or else if it's too thin on your spreader you can't get it off. The hardener and the filler are just about always two different colors, and the main reason why is so you can see when you're mixed. Got a nice uniform color. Got to wipe it off of that spreader, all the way off, both sides. Catch that, and then mix that again. Otherwise you'll have some that's not quite mixed stuck on the spreader. Now this is going to be a trick to get the camera over there before that stuff sets up on me. Stopping right before I get to this line here because I don't want to have to cut that line by hand with a saw when I'm done. I still might have to. I know I'm going to have to on the other side. And now I'm going to press hard with the left side or the right side of this. I got a couple of spots up here I got to get. Now I think that's all the spots I had prepared, so I'm going to go ahead and scrape all this off the box, and then I'm going to stick my spreader. I'm going to stick it tightly up against this one. So that I can get those two apart. Now, of course, this stuff here sets up a whole lot easier to file. It doesn't set up near as hard. This is why I bought these 3 cans of cheap spray primer. Give me an idea where the high and low spots are. Now when that dries, I'll grind that off on these high spots, and I know that I got to fill down here on the low spots. But I don't fill right over the primer. I'll grind that off a little bit too after I'm satisfied that I've ground this down far enough. was going to need a saw to trim this out of this line here. Maybe I don't. Maybe some of this is coming out. I'm going to try to get a little bit of me doing this with an air file, cutting this down here a little bit. Have to do it kind of left-handed since the camera's going to be in the way. For obvious reasons, I can't record this whole process because it's going to take about 20 hours to do all of it. So I'll just do it in little pieces.